So, according to you guys on Twitter, you wanted me to talk about the toxicity of the stream chat from when Bungie did their ride-along a couple days ago. Apparently, a lot of people were attacking Bungie, were just being extremely hateful towards them, mad at them. You haven't given us content. You guys are D-bags. And most of the community members, especially the pillars in the community, a lot of the big streamers and YouTubers came to Bungie's defense like, that's just no way a lady should act. And to me, that absolutely bothered me. I don't understand this. Now, for starters, all these people are like, you know what, there's feedback, there's good feedback, there's bad feedback. Nobody's going to listen to when you're negative. Well, let me ask, how did it work when we were being positive? Now, they're right to an extent, so you have to understand that if you ever been in an argument with a lover, a significant other, a family friend, anything, and, it gets to being a little too personal or something, somebody says something insulting, and you just get really, really upset and you kind of shut off, right? They may be making all the sense in the world. They may be 100% correct with what they're yelling at you. But because of their delivery, you don't take any of it into consideration. It's just because you want to be bitter. And you're just like, no. And that's what it comes down to. So their argument is, there's positive feedback and there's negative feedback. If you want them to hear you, all you got to do is just be positive. Say, hey, this is what you're doing. This is what we would like to see. But that's what we've been doing for the last year and a half, and it's gotten us nowhere. So we've effectively decided to stop with the whole let's be patient and see if it works out sort of situation, because it's not been working. And we've been letting the rage out. It's built up throughout the community, and now it's successfully manifested into some giant rage dildo that they fully intend to ram into Bungie's meat wallet. That's where the community is right now. The time for patience and composure is gone. And when you are telling a community, especially as the community leaders, when you're telling a community to not act on their emotions, that's absurd. As long as they're not threatening other people, which I do not approve of. If they're in there saying, Deej, I want to just completely fuck you in half, then yeah, that's a threat. That's a little too far. That's not healthy venting. That's not getting it out of your system to where you feel better. That is rude and just uncalled for. So that behavior, I'm not all for. Yelling at them, telling them they're a giant mistake, and calling them a bunch of turd siphoning ovary tacos, then that's fine by me. That's fair game. Because that's where the anger is being released into, and as most people are like, well, that doesn't solve anything. Yeah, we know the problems aren't going to be resolved, but they're not yelling at them to get the problems resolved. We've already known this. There's no way they don't know about the problems. This is for the people. This is making them feel better. So by all means, let them do it, because that company fully deserves it. They have lied to us. They've withheld things. They have completely changed the way the Crucible works. They have not had a balanced Crucible experience from the start. So yes, if I buy a product, I expect it to work. I shouldn't have to buy a video game and consider it a gamble. And when everybody's like, oh man, if you're so mad at Destiny, why don't you just stop playing? Let me ask you a question real quick. You order a pizza. It shows up an hour later. All you have is the box. What do? Do you complain about it? Do you call them up and say, hey, you know what? Well, I paid for a pizza. Well, I expect a pizza. Because that would make too much sense. Now, what if I just told you, no, just deal with it. If you want, just eat the cardboard. You don't like the lack of pizza? Then don't get pizza there anymore. Does that solve the actual problem? No, because you purchased it. You paid money for it, and you want a product. And there's that relationship right now. But this goes a step further to be. When everybody's telling people to control their emotions, you are in the wrong. You shouldn't tell people, as long as it's in a healthy standard, to say, hey, you know what? You shouldn't be getting angry at these people. The next step is telling people they shouldn't mourn the loss of another. You know what, Steve? It's been 3 days since your father died. And that seems like an acceptable amount of time to digest your loss. Who's up for tacos? You can't tell somebody to not be angry at somebody. You can try to encourage people on how to release that if you want, but don't get mad at people for having a reasonable reaction to being disappointed or upset, because that's how people work. That's why arguments happen. It's the way relationships work. Healthy relationships come together where they can discuss and talk about things. This is the ultimate goal between relationships, lovers, friends, family. Communication is the #1 most important key to any successful relationship. Now, when you're dealing with Bungie, who is about as effective as communicating as a shoebox, there is no communication there. So this is where the problem lies. So normally I'd be able to talk to my wife, say, I was really upset about the way that you made fun of my vagina. I am really, really wanting you to not do that anymore. Can you work on that? And she'd be like, sure, honey. That's how a healthy conversation would go down between two parties. Now, when one party's not communicating at all and completely ignoring everything, then we have a problem. Now, that's your source of all the rage. They can't have any of their concerns addressed. If you were to buy a product, if I was to go ahead and just order a pizza right now, and it shows up 6 hours late with nothing in the box, I can effectively call the place up and, hey, you know what they're going to do right by me? They're going to give me that pizza box free because there was no pizza in it. Then they're probably going to send me some coupons and another free pizza and apologize for it, because that's what responsibility looks like. And that's how things should be handled between a transaction, between business. When we're the people, the consumers, and we buy something from them, it should not be them keeping us in the dark. That's not the way things work. And this is where the frustration lies. This is why the community's upset. So yeah, when you create and spend money to create a studio to do a ride-along for something that's how many months old, and this is finally an area that they can stand right in front of you to your face and tell you what's going on, and of course vent their frustrations at this point, then yes, you should fully expect that kind of reaction, and I endorse it. At this point, I can't feel bad for Bungie. I can kind of feel bad for the employees, because ultimately, you know, they're also getting flack for this, and that's kind of like getting mad at a pizza delivery guy or a waitress when somebody screws up your order. If it's not on her, you don't really need to take it out on the employees themselves, but they've been led down a dangerous path. The community has just been completely upset with the lack of content, the lack of balance, the connection problems. This game is riddled with mistakes, and a lot of people that just really were like, you know what, let's just step away. We shouldn't have to. That's the problem. We shouldn't have to walk away the game or wait until fixes come along. We should have a path. We should have guidance, and it's on the job and shoulders of Bungie themselves to deliver that to the community. And this is why they are, in my opinion, the worst developers out there. They're keeping their community in the dark. They're not capable of balancing their team. The competence there is below par. And yeah, that's going to lead to this frustration. Now, there wouldn't be near as much rage and upset people out there if they were actually telling us, you know, we heard about the Thorn. It's going to take us a couple months, and people aren't going to want to hear that news. But at least it's confirmation that they're listening. At least we know that, hey, they're working on it. They're prioritizing it. And until any of that happens, the community is going to continue acting like this. So the next time they do one of these, expect a sequel. Well, guys, that's been my 2 cents. So let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think it's fair the way the community reacted? Do you think it's worthy of, you know, addressing? I know lots of other commentators and people and everything on social media were like, you know what, I am so ashamed in the Destiny community. I'm not. I'm proud of them. They're sticking up for themselves, which is what a victim should do. They should be vocal about it. They should communicate, unlike Bungie. So that's me. Let me know your bits down below, guys. You have a great day. Be awesome.